Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode because today we're going to be taking a $1 steak and attempting to make Bresaola better. We're also going to be finishing a project that we started last year. We took the Sausage Maker's dry aging steak wraps and we dry aged the cheapest cut of meat that we can get our hands on, the eye of round, a very tough muscle to work with. After wrapping it in that special plant-based material and securing it with a net, we went ahead and placed it in our refrigerator for 45 days, along with all of the other meat we were dry aging. After 45 days, the eye of round had finished dry aging and we went ahead and pulled it from the fridge. If you'd like to see part 1 of this video, check out the link in the top right hand corner. So there's our eye of round, dry aged, 45 days. It has that traditional dry age smell coming from it. It looks incredible. Great dry aging color, striations of mold as I cut it right down the center. The inside looks great. The pellicle's not too thick. So we're going to take half of this eye of round. And in part 1, you'll see what we did with the other half. But we're going to take half of this eye of round and go ahead and remove the pellicle. Now that the pellicle's been removed, let's go ahead and turn this into Bresaola. To turn this into Bresaola, we need to cure this beef, and we're going to apply a simple cure mix using something called the equilibrium cure method. Now, I've got a link in the description box below with the recipe on how I did this whole process. Once I finished, I put it in a vacuum seal bag and placed it in my refrigerator. This is going to be curing inside of my refrigerator. I've got delicate herbs, I've got salt, I've got Instacure number 2, and all of that is going to be penetrating the meat, and it's going to allow me to hang it in a drying chamber for a couple of months. This is our beef. Now that it's been cured, we're just going to take it out of the bag, rinse it off right quick, and then get it ready for the drying chamber. Now, the drying chamber is an interesting environment. We have controlled temperature, controlled humidity, but if we just stick that meat in there like that, it's going to dry too fast. So we need to wrap it once again, but this time we're going to be using collagen sheets. The alternative to collagen sheets, if you're going to be putting it in a drying chamber, would be to, maybe some cheesecloth or even a casing would work as well. Collagen sheets are super easy to use. Put your meat right in the center and then begin to fold the sheet over the meat. You don't have to worry too much about the air pockets because in a minute we're going to poke it with a sausage pricker and that's going to get any air pockets out. But we need a way to hang it, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and secure it with a netting and then truss it right up. It'll hang no problem. One last thing we're going to do before we hang our meat is record the actual weight. We're shooting for a 30 to 40% weight loss. Really somewhere in about the 36 to 37% is my target for this. And we're just going to go ahead and hang it in our drying chamber. And this is what our drying chamber looks like. It's set at 55 degrees Fahrenheit with a relative humidity of about 80%. I can control the humidity with a dehumidifier. I use the EverDry and a humidifier. And under these conditions, it's going to sit for roughly about 7 to 8 weeks until I lose the right amount of weight. Now, in my case, it happened to be about 7 weeks later, and we're going to go ahead and pull it. And this is what it looks like. So the white mold all over it, that's something called Penicillium nalgiavense. That's the beneficial mold that sort of keeps the bad mold from growing all over it. It is edible, in case you were wondering, but we're going to remove it because that Penicillium nalgiavense, that's also known as mold 600, it's on the actual casing. And the casing is not edible. So we're just going to go ahead and peel that casing off and take a peek at our eye of round that's been dry aged for 45 days. This particular piece of charcuterie is called a Bresaola. Now, under normal circumstances, Bresaola is not dry aged. It's just beef that's been seasoned and cured and hung to dry for several months until the color turns almost ruby red. It becomes very firm. But look at this particular cut of meat. It's dried absolutely perfect. The color is even throughout. There's no dry ring on the outer edge of that particular slice, which sometimes happens if your charcuterie dries too fast. Let's go ahead and slice it. And I got to tell you, it smells absolutely incredible. Now, typically Bresaola won't smell like this. Yeah, it's going to be herby. It's going to have that nice cured smell, but it's not going to have a dry aged smell. And that's really adding a really nice element to this charcuterie. And now, after many, many months, the time has finally come. We took the first half of this and we turned it into dry-aged chicken fried steaks. That's in part 1 of this video. And we are now down to the dry-aged eye of round Bresaola, which I'm really excited to try. I've had Bresaola before, but nothing like this. The texture is absolutely perfect. The smell, like I was talking about earlier, is just elevated on every level. You've got a very cheesy and nutty quality coming from the meat itself, but remember, it was also aged in an environment where mold grew on it. So there's that element of, additional flavor that's going to be added to this dry-aged eye of round. Okay, enough of that. Let's go ahead and take a bite. Wow. Oh my gosh. This is incredible. I gotta tell you, the objective of this particular video was, can we save a $1 steak by dry aging it? Now, I can tell you that we can't. Dry aging a $1 steak doesn't make it that much better, but when you turn it into chicken fried steak, you're doing really, really good. But when you turn it into Bresaola, dry aged, 45-day Bresaola, this becomes something extraordinary. And yeah, I think we're going to make this one again. Thanks for watching the video. A quick shout out goes to the patrons of the channel. Thank you for your support. And if you like what you see and you want to support our work, visit the Patreon link in the description box below. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. We're working on something huge. I mean, epic proportions. And you can get sneak peeks on our stories, so be sure to check that out. We'll see you in the next one.